Wife that wants her emotional needs met by her husband. And then I added on to that who is exhausted from work and providing and not meeting her needs.
You versus I statements is where my
Absolutely.
mind went to.
That's where mine went to. As soon as she
Yeah.
said it earlier, I was like, this needs to be a
Yeah.
discussion.
So you versus I statements, and that falls into the you always, you never, and turning it into I feel overwhelmed when the household looks a mess. Can you help me with that? That turns it from you never help me around the house. I can't believe you're like this. And that removes the blame. It removes the accusation of laziness or not contributing. And men by nature are fixers.
Yeah.
When I tell my husband, babe, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overstimulated, he immediately goes, what can I do to make it better for you?
I find a phone booth and come out like Superman.
Yeah.
Because it gives me the opportunity to serve my wife,
Be her
lead
superhero.
my household, and be the protector, the provider, and like I'm the superhero in the moment. That comes down to articulating what you need,
Right.
and not throwing shade at your person. You hear people say you work too much. It's not that they work too much, it's that they're missed. You're not home very often. I miss the times that we had. I miss the conversations. So instead of going, you work too much and you're never here, babe, I miss you.
you.
Can we start doing date nights? Can we start watching our TV shows on Wednesdays? Can we start going to church again or whatever it is that we need to do to reconnect? That is very different than you work too much.
Right.
So when you learn to articulate what you need versus throwing shade and making, like she said, accusations, you're gonna get a very different outcome.
All right. Who wants to go ahead and respond? Go ahead, Paul.
I thought that was a really great perspective. I think a lot of people, when it comes to communicating, especially through frustration, we tend to communicate how we feel in that moment instead of what led us to that feeling. So like he stated, you work too much is how I feel in that moment. But the reason why I'm upset that you work so much is because it's taking away time from me. I just had a conversation with my friends, which is funny because she's been with her man for 13 years. They just got engaged. And she called me venting about how he spends so much time going off and doing this one thing that he likes to do to release stress. Now, he's always done this, but she's like, it's so frustrating. He's not spending time with me. I'm just going to tell him he needs to stop doing that. And I literally told her, instead of saying that, why don't you let him know that you feel like your time with him is being, hindered because of this action? How about I want to spend a little bit more time with you? I think we have to learn how to take the emotion out of it. And I'm specifically speaking to women because I can only speak from a woman's perspective. We tend to speak through anger, through our emotions, instead of trying to think about what we're going to say to our men to get them to understand, comprehend, and actually take in our message. So we have to calm ourselves down first and decide that we're going to address this situation in a way and in a manner in which he can actually receive what we're saying. So what they were stating and how they were stating it is amazing. I feel like so many more people need to learn to communicate like that. And the only way we can do that is by checking our own emotions and actually finding the root of why we feel that way. You're just not upset because I'm always gone. You're upset because you miss me, because you like my attention. You like me around. And that sounds so much better than you in these streets all the time.
All right. Who wants to go next?
I'd like to speak on it. Ladies, most of the time, y'all are good communicators. Y'all know how to talk. I mean, y'all got the words. Y'all know how to speak it. Y'all know what to say. But where y'all lack is listening. Y'all not good listeners. Now, men, we're great listeners. We listen. We don't communicate well. We don't say what we really feel sometimes like we should. And I feel like, men, we needed to do a better job. Even though it may hurt sometimes when that truth you tell them, let it be known. Just figure out how to say it in a loving and kind way. That's what I was told. Tone and delivery. Kelly and Ty, y'all remember that, tone and delivery. I told you I'm not practicing that on y'all. But my wife, she could get that. But part of that communication needs to be able to listen to a man. So when a man is just got everything you just unloaded on him, everything you just sit there and said. You got to be willing to open that two-way street up, so you be willing to listen, so he can respond to what you just shared. Because if not, you just making us a goddamn sounding board. You just want to vent. Now, if you just want to vent, you need to tell us, baby, I just want to vent. I just want to get some shit up off my chest. And then guess what? We're not looking to answer any questions unless you ask us one directly. We just gonna sit there and just pay attention, stare you in the eye, probably look at you like you crazy, but we're gonna listen to you. We're not gonna say a goddamn word because that's all you want is just a vent. Cool. But please believe, when we have our moments, when we need to get some shit up off our chest, you got to be willing and open to do it. It's a two-way street. And then it's not fair, it's not okay. And guess what? The man's going to eventually, if you don't feel like he can communicate with you, he's going to stop communicating altogether. And now that's a different problem.
So back to the video. Articulation is key. I believe that. I definitely believe it's not what you say, it's how you say it, tone, delivery, all those things. But with communication, a lot of times it's not so much communication, it's comprehension. Some people do not comprehend well. So as far as communication being a lost art, it is, because some people don't even know the art of communication. Like, we say all these things, you know, it's about listening, it's about this, it's about that, but are you really taking the time to learn the art of those things? Some people really don't know how to communicate. They just don't. I mean, I'm sure everybody on this panel has experienced someone who they just couldn't hold a real conversation with, or that they had some type of combative relationship at some point. Like, it's just not something that we all learn. Just like, what's your name? Nee? You mentioned how we weren't taught to date. Some people weren't taught to communicate. And that's just the bottom line. So you have to take a real interest in communicating to get your points across to some people. You have to know who you're dealing with. And Nee, you also mentioned how it doesn't take a long time to get to know a person. It shouldn't take 15 years or 6 years or whatever the case may be. Those are things that you learn in the very beginning when you're dealing with someone. I know another thing we talked about was, why do people stay in toxic relationships? Because people, they don't want to start over. They want to keep the faith, thinking that this person is going to get better. And they show you the red flags day one, week one. But women stick it out. Men do too, but not, I don't know. Like, men, you all can speak on that. Do you stick it out when you realize that you don't have the best relationship with this person? Or, you know, you see the red flags, it's not going anywhere. I don't think men do it as much as women do. But that's for a man to speak on, not me.